Good afternoon, everybody. I am a polar bear, and I have crawled out of my igloo this morning to play Clive Barker's Undying. I hope this sound level is alright. I tried recording on a lower sound level, turned mic boost down a little bit, and unfortunately you pretty much can't hear me at all at that point, so this is going to have to be the sound level. If it's a little blasty, I apologize, but this is unfortunately the best I can do without buying much better equipment, and I don't have the money for that at the moment, so this is what I'm going to have to do. Now there's going to be a cutscene here at the beginning. I'm going to be quiet through, and I'm going to play on medium, because I'm pretty sure Nightmare is pretty nightmarish. Don't want to get my face chewed off too much. (1923) October.
I'm tired of traveling, or fighting superstition in its many manifestations. Even though it was me who chose to debunk folklore and mysticism. Little did I know I'd end up being labelled as Patrick Galloway, the man with endless occult knowledge. Before I knew it, people all over the world paid me to investigate all kinds of weird things. As long as they paid me, I'd look into it. Funny thing though, the more I saw, the more I believed there are forces beyond our control. Creatures not explainable in any human terms. Things that make my skin crawl. I fled from Ireland and hung around Paris and London with no real purpose till the Great War started. I joined a special unit whose job it was to squelch the fears of the superstitious farm boys who made up the fighting ranks. The Tresanti were the biggest pains. New commanding officer, Jeremiah Covenant, led our unit in the hunt for their camp. We were ambushed. They came streaming out of the woods, waving swords and howling like banshees. I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue. And just when I was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me. A bright green flash came from his hand, and it bowled me over as my gun went off. I woke up in a hospital bed with severe burns. They told me Jeremiah and the unit had gone on without me, but he'd given me the shaman stone to keep. I hadn't given any of this much thought until I came back here to find this letter that Jeremiah wrote me almost 6 months ago, asking me to come back to Ireland and help him out. This is not something I'm dying to do, for it may mean the death of me. He saved my life though, so I owe it to him. Just hope it's not too late.
Alright, now that we're back in Ireland, let's read our journal entry here. And we have... Alright, it's just remembrance right now. Each time my past fades from memory, fate has a terrible habit of reawakening me. Most often, the unpleasant name of Otto Kaisinger is the vehicle of remembrance, but not today. My old friend and commanding officer in the Great War, Jeremiah Covenant, has sent word. It has been years since I have heard from him. His letter came whilst I was away, sitting unopened for nearly 6 months. My joy at reading his name was quickly replaced by sorrow, then by fear. Jeremiah has fallen ill and requires my assistance at his estate in Ireland. I have not set foot on Irish soil since poor Gwendolyn's death, and I did not think anything could make me return. Could I have been responsible for her death? Being legally exiled from my homeland was painful, but nothing in comparison to my memories. How did she end up on the floor? How could so much blood come without a sound? How was that knife in my hand, and why was Kaisinger suddenly nowhere to be found? But Jeremiah saved my life, and I cannot deny any request he would make. The necessity of my presence is somewhat vague, as his letter at times was incoherent. He speaks of his sickness as a family illness no medicine can cure. Regardless, I will go to my friend. I booked passage on a steamliner leaving tomorrow, arriving in 4 days' time. I hope I am not recognized by the authorities. I hope I am not too late. Patrick. What I have out here is the Gelzabar stone, which will luminesce in the presence of scrying targets. Let me show you that. Scrying is going to be your all-purpose, hey look over there. Oh, one moment, rats. Stop it. Oh. scrying is going to be your all-purpose "hey, look over there" power. Starts bound to the right mouse button. It will reveal secret passages, allow you to peek into the supernatural realm, and if you left-click while it's out, you'll fling everything in front of you away from you. It doesn't do any damage, so it's not really that useful unless you're getting crowded by enemies, but just so you know it's there. And again, it illuminesces if you're near something kind of poking through from the supernatural realm, so it's neat to look at those. Now let me show you some foreshadowing here.
Won't budge.
Sorry if you can't see that too well. There you go. We go talk to the groundskeeper, who... I thought this was the quest the first time I was here. Like, I thought this was my objective. I had to go talk to him.
You're Jeremiah's old war buddy, right?
Indeed.
And that's the extent of that conversation. If you hang around long enough, he'll offer you alcohol, but he can't. He doesn't actually ever do anything for you. At least, well, not ever, but he doesn't do anything for you right now.
I'm Patrick Galloway, a friend of Jeremiah's. Sorry it took me so long to get here. His letter said it was most urgent.
Jeremiah was beginning to think that the letter never arrived in your hands. He's been quite anxious to see you. We've all been quite worried. Jeremiah's now bedridden. Follow me and I'll show you to his living quarters. I apologize for the look of the house, but there's only a skeleton crew of servants now. Jeremiah let go of everyone else, and the house is much too large for us to clean. Because we've lost electricity to most parts of the house, we can only maintain the living quarters. This family's had so much tragedy. I hope you can help him.
Always thought the maid's voice acting was a bit off. Her delivery's a bit off, her accent's a bit off. Hello. Hello. I'd be more freaked out by that if I hadn't seen him 3 times this morning. This is the third recording I've done, again mostly for sound levels, and I'm thinking this is just where it's going to have to sit. Well, that's not a creepy desk at all. Grab this health pack here. Health in this game is kind of neat. You get health packs that you can use whenever you want. That way you can get an infusion of health whenever you decide to, and you don't waste them, which I find nice. Let's go talk to Jeremiah Covenant.
Patrick, you made it.
At your service, Jeremiah. Sorry for the delay, but I've been abroad. What happened to you?
It seems I've come under the watchful eye of the Reaper, my friend. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Apparently too long.
Patrick, I came back from the war only to find my entire estate in disarray. My brother Aaron disappeared first, and then my sister Bethany. My declining health is a result of an old war wound, and unfortunately, the symptoms are irreversible. I didn't summon you here to watch me die. I need your help.
Anything I can do. Just name it.
Strange events began happening around the manor. After thinning out my staff, they ransacked my estate, taking whatever they could carry. The rest of the help was quick to follow, as they feared rumors of my family's curse. I can't help but think it's more than a coincidence that strange happenings have increased since I've been back from the war. I want to get to the bottom of this, but I'm just too weak to investigate it myself. I'm relying on you to step in for me.
Of course, Jeremiah. The only reason I risk coming back here is to assist you however I can.
My thanks to you, Patrick.
What the hell is that?
Sounds like it came from downstairs.
I'll check it out. Lock the door behind me.
I can't help but feeling that Jeremiah looks like kind of a desiccated Gordon Freeman. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that this looks sort of very Half-Life 1, but he reminds me of a very desiccated old Gordon Freeman. You know, we got another journal entry. Let me whip that thing out. I have arrived in time. Apparently just in time. Completely bedridden, Jeremiah is a shadow of his old self, appearing many pounds and a few shades lighter. His explanation for calling to me is still unclear. He speaks of strange happenings around the estate, problems that he is unable to rectify in his weakened state, and has requested that I investigate. I, of course, agreed. Before I could ponder where to begin my exploration, the servant who showed me Jeremiah's room screamed from downstairs. Often where to begin is the most difficult step. Patrick. So we have to go downstairs, make sure that maid is alright. We have this douche. I don't like this guy. I don't know whether it's the mustache or the red hair that doesn't match the mustache or the fact that he's a dick, but I don't like him. As you might have guessed, all is not well down here.
Can you describe what you can only see? As the bonds of flesh are broken, the world becomes apparent.
Got another health pack here. Now, sometimes these mirrors are breakable. This one is not, as you can see, and it can't be scryed through. But some of them, you can scry to reveal that they're actually transparent and walk right through them into a secret area. Very useful tip to remember. Don't know how well you can see this thing. It looks like a mix between a dog and a rat with horns. Lovely critter, really. Ow! Oh, that thing took 4 shots to put down. Still gonna keep my health packs. I think they restore 50 HP, so I'm gonna try and keep them until I need them. Ah! Gotta get the jump on me this time. Now here's the poor maid. Got torn apart and partially eaten. Oh, missed him. There we go. Reloading. Whoa. Aim's a little off. There we go. Got that one. Now I'm gonna look up here so you can see. I've never read any of Clive Barker's. I've never read any of Clive Barker's actual novels, but I don't know how closely he skirts to H.P. Lovecraft. But at least this game very much reminds me of something Lovecraftian. It's not quite as subtle as Lovecraft's usual fare, but got a lot of similar themes running through it, and occasionally you see these windows, which I have to assume were a deliberate homage. There's one more enemy up there. Can I pick him? Ah, I think I missed him. Yeah, he's coming. Oh, he's freaking out. Oh!
Help me, Patrick!
Be with you in just a minute, Jeremiah. Gotta check this side room. Get this journal entry. And open this secret passage. And get this amplifier. Okay, can't do anything in there. Actually, here, let me read that journal entry. Where is it? It's not that one. Joseph's note. I have just returned from the Standing Stones. Whatever inspired an ancient people to build these stones out on that windswept isle, I cannot guess. While I have seen sights like this before, something about the stones has resonance within me. Why would ancient people trouble themselves to build these monoliths on such an isolated island? It would have been far easier to establish a similar ritual area on the mainland itself. I find it curious that for as long as my family has owned this house, no one has taken it upon themselves to truly research the land which we own. Considering I had not returned to the manor since I was a child, I never realized the curious nature of my inheritance. Why does this area have such a strange collection of archaeological artifacts? While I strongly doubt there's any connection between Neolithic stones, a decaying monastery, and the tower that the estate was built and wraps itself around, the significance of 3 major archaeological sites cannot be denied. The tower is a local legend itself. Supposedly, during a great storm, the tower just appeared on this site. Of course, no one can tell me when this happened. All I can tell is that it is a gutted shell of what it once was. No doubt, this is why it has been sealed off for so long. The monastery is now a crumbled ruin. It is certainly just a remnant of some reclusive order of monks. Seems that Ireland is dotted with these retreats. I will have to travel out to the island someday. Perhaps I will take the children, Joseph. Wouldn't recommend that, Joseph. I'm not going to read you the one for the amplifier or any of the other weapons, really, because they're not that interesting. I'm just going to read you the notes and such that I pick up. Let me go and save Jeremiah here. I'm coming, buddy. I got you. It really does not care. Could have just walked right up to it and put one in its head. Well, hey, buddy.
Those beasts were after me.
What in God's name were those things?
They're called howlers. And while I've never seen one before tonight, I've heard of them for years.
Those weren't natural, my friend. We're fighting more than superstitions here.
Perhaps I was being naive not to tell you, but there might be something more sinister at work here. When I was a boy, I encountered something I can't quite explain. You see, there was this isle of standing stones that sits just off the estate. Someone had carved a sigil into each of the stones, something indiscernible. Father had many books on the occult, one of which contained a sketch of that very symbol. I took my brothers and sisters out to the island and read from my father's book.
Well, what happened?
Something answered. The ocean began to boil, and a great wind whipped against us as we stood in the circle, and my siblings huddled to the ground in fear. Eventually, the wind died, and the sea settled. Patrick, I know it sounds like the ravings of a dying man, but I believe those standing stones had something to do with this. What has once been a taint upon this family has now begun to manifest itself.
But you told me you're dying. Doesn't this curse end with you?
Who knows? My brothers and sisters are dead, but I don't think they're really gone. I've heard some servants whispering. They think they've seen Lisbeth on the estate. My family has come for me. I sense them, Patrick. By now, you and I know the supernatural exists. You saw the Howlers. And what about our encounters with the Tersante during the war? You still even carry the Gelzebah stone with you.
It's a token of the shaman's life I took. That's all.
I found a scroll with a picture of the Gelzebah on it. I believe it contains the way to awaken the stone's dormant power.
Very well. Let me study this scroll overnight, and I'll see what I can do in the morning.
This house still hides many secrets. I'm counting on you to reveal them and put an end to this mess.
Alright, got a new journal entry here. A piece to the puzzle. The scream downstairs was the result of an attack by a beast, something Jeremiah calls a howler. Similar to a dog, the animal was pale in complexion, has claws as long as my arm, and could leap several meters from a dead stop. I killed the fiend, but before I could thoroughly inspect the corpse, it vanished without a trace. Upon questioning Jeremiah, I am a little more unnerved than I was after seeing the howler. He told a story involving his brothers and sisters, an Isle of Standing Stones, and a sorcery book of his late father's. Apparently, the Covenant children... The Covenant children? Oh, right. Jeremiah Covenant. Rare. Led by Jeremiah, went to the island and read from this strange book. He maintains it was simply a prank to scare his kin. He believes something from within the ring of stones answered back, raging the sea, angering the wind, and shaking the earth. Since that time, Jeremiah has been visited by terrible misfortune. All of his brothers and sisters have passed away. I recall one late night in a foxhole, Jeremiah showed me a picture of Elizabeth, his youngest sister. No more than a teenager, she was so striking I found it hard to concentrate on his descriptions of the others. Patrick, you horn dog. Anyway, Jeremiah is not completely convinced they are indeed dead. Well, to be precise, he's not sure they have remained dead. I suspect that these delusions are brought on by his memory of the day at the Stones. Otherwise, I can only imagine this was a terrible prank played upon a dying man. Having trouble words this morning. But if they are only delusions, why not inform me of them when we first spoke? Why would he not write me of such in his letter? Perhaps he did not think I would come. Patrick. I'm about to get a new power here once I step into this. It's ectoplasm. Basically, I can fire little magic missiles that scatter at short range. They're, let me show you one. They're pretty useful, do a decent amount of damage, but as it stands, I don't really need them because I have a revolver and plenty of ammunition. Come on, there we go. Later on, if I'm running low on bullets, I can use... the ectoplasm to save rounds. Here comes the creepy butler.
Have you noticed anything strange going on?
Apparently, Elizabeth's room was broken into last night during the commotion.
Where's her room?
Just down the hall from here. It's quite a mess.
It's the voice. It sounds like a voice that he'd use to lure children into a van, if vans exist in the 1920s. Do vans exist in the 1920s? No, if I'm not mistaken, I can't go anywhere but Lisbeth's room, so...
Tell me what you know about Lisbeth.
Why, she was a fetching young lass. Quite the fiery temper, though. She could be placid and calm 1 minute, and then suddenly she's spitting curses and swinging her nails at you like an animal. 'Tis a pity her mother died birthing her.
Indeed.
Following her mother's death, I'd raised Lisbeth like my own. In the end, the wasting sickness got her. I'd cared for her when she was sick and watched her wither away to nothing. Pity a young woman has to die in the spring of her life. Now she rests with her poor mother at the family mausoleum. The groundskeeper claims to have seen her recently. Oh man, seeing a ghost is never a good omen.
Where can I find this groundskeeper?
He's out in the gardens. You can get there through the kitchen.
Your knowledge is appreciated. Thank you.
Before I wander down into the kitchen, let me show you something here. There's a picture of Lisbeth that... Lisbeth is queen of the devil dogs, apparently.
Oh, this house needs a priest.
I can go into her bathroom and grab a med kit. There's nothing else in here, so... Down to the kitchen we go. Actually, how do I get down to the kitchen? Is it this direction? Whoa!
Help me!
That was a close one. Oh, damn it, another maid down. Why couldn't you have eaten the creepy butler? Honestly. Uh-oh. Looks like that is 25 minutes. Goddamn. Well, alright, let me save here then. Save by the... back to the open window. Nope. Save with my back to a harmless dresser. Save... let me delete my old save. Alright, save complete, and that is it for this part. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bear. Bear.